Okay, so for today we're just going to cover through the process of how to create a map for an application on either your iOS phone or tablet or Android phone or tablet. Right, I'll follow through the process, hopefully keep it fairly quickly, but it's a video, so I hope you can pause and rewind if you need to see things again. So to start off with, we need a Photoshop file of our master plan or image that we want to overlay. The important aspect is that we need to have the same location or aerial image in the background of our master plan that we also have in Google Earth. So here is the site. You can see they've actually started building on this site, but if we roll back the maps so we can get a similar date to the one that was taken on the aerial. And this is what is used to collaborate the two files and align them together. So what I have done is in Photoshop actually made little crosshairs to actually mark where the exact locations are. This just makes it easier in the software you'll see later to align the 2 points. So the process is you need a Photoshop file, like I said. Ideally we need to mark a minimum of 5 points around the master plan that will help geolocate this image. I've picked out features like certain trees or buildings that would hopefully be the same in both images. So it's important to have the master plan open and also Google Earth open. So within Google Earth, what you do is you just create a path, and then you can call this an alignment or whichever you wish, and then you just click on certain points. So you can zoom in and you can click on a tree, zoom out, zoom in again, and then click on another point, and so forth until you get 5 points. Just be careful if you put your finger on the left mouse button and drag it, it drops a whole lot of points. So you don't really want that. So I'll cancel that because we've already made one here based on the same points that we have in our Photoshop file. So there's certain trees and certain locations. This one was a bit tricky because there's not a lot of built objects. So trying to pick up on buildings or parts or features that don't change between plans. So once that's saved, we can simply take this path, right click and save as a KML file. And then what I have done is for projects created a shortcut in here under site photos and then GPS maps for site visits. So in here just save it, and again make sure it's a KML, not a KMZ for that to read in software. So once that's done, we can close Google Earth, and then we can save a JPEG of this file, and then we can load the application that we're going to use to align the two together. So this one is a weird name, it's MAPC2MAPC which is a bit of a mouthful, but essentially it will take a file and use your Google Earth file to geolocate it. So what we want to do is go File, Load Image for Calibration, and we want from a file of points. So it'll ask you to browse for a location. We browse to the location that we saved the JPEG and select that. It'll automatically go back to the same location and asks for the alignment. So we open that, and then it opens up, and then basically in the order you drew them, you need to select this point on the image. So you can see here, this is why it's useful having crosshairs and a marker, because you're obviously quite zoomed out when you're trying to locate these. So if you've got certain objects like trees that are quite small, then it's particularly difficult to try and get it in the right location. So first pass, you just literally go through and approximately put it in the right location, and then you come to here and hit View, and then what you do is you right click over each point, and then that will bring up the zoomed in view where you just use your mouse or arrow keys to hone this in, and this just sort of refines it so it's a bit more accurate. So you can see it's a really good advantage of having little Photoshop crosshairs that you can move into the location. It just speeds up the process. So just lock these in. The only annoying thing is you have to use your mouse button, or if you've got a numeric keypad, you can use that, which is slightly annoying because it's a little bit slow. Never mind. Okay, so once you do that, you can just hit close on the view, and then it will come down. It will normally tell you if there's a certain point that's out by a certain amount, but if it's within 1 or 2 pixels, I wouldn't really worry about it. So from here, we can choose to write the map. What I'll do is I will show you how to write both for Android and also for Apple at the same time. And then the second part of the video, I'll do a separate one for how to load it into an Android device or an iOS device, because the process is slightly different. So you just want to write a map for mobile device. Next dialog box will appear. And then the option is the software that we use is Maverick. So we want to choose that option for the Android. And then the zoom levels here will relate to every time you zoom in, there'll be a different level of zoom, which will be explained in the next video. So if we put 19, I think is the maximum you can go, but for this purpose we'll just put 18 just to make it quicker. And then once you hit OK, it'll show you a preview of the areas that are selected. If the map's incredibly distorted, it probably means that you haven't got the alignment points, or you've got something wrong with the correlation. So obviously each set of tiles has a different zoom level. So hit OK, and what it does is it will automatically write a set of folder and files in the location that you open the JPEG from. So we have here, it's starting to write that, and as you'll see, there'll just be a folder with a bunch of map tiles in each subfolder. So that's for Android. So we'll just wait for this to finish processing. Okay, so now that's written, we can go back up to here and go File, right, Map for Mobile Device, and this time for Apple we want to use the MBT tiles, SQLite. Again, what I'll do, because you normally have to go via Wi-Fi connection for the iOS, I'll just reduce the zoom levels here to just 2. Just to make the copy and export quicker for this purpose, and then hit OK. Again, it gives you a preview of the different zoom levels that it creates, and then writes those files. Okay, so now that process is done, what you will find here is in the folder that you created the maps, if I just expand this here, you will have one MBT tiles file that you can copy to your iOS device, and you'll also have a subfolder here that you can copy for your Android device. So now I'll just switch across the video and then show you how to load each one of those respectively.